Trial shocker. Jury selection may destroy Diddy's defense.
More than 24 potential jurors were questioned yesterday. They ranged in age from early 30s to mid-70s. They were asked about their experience with domestic violence and sexual assault and if they had any views on hip-hop artists.
What should have been a routine step, picking 12 unbiased people, has spiraled into chaos. Forget opening statements. The real drama started the moment jury selection began. Between viral videos, social media firestorms, and a defendant who's practically a walking brand, finding someone who hasn't formed an opinion is like chasing a unicorn. And now, jurors are panicking, lying, and dropping out entirely. So what exactly is going on inside that courtroom? And could jury selection alone be the thing that takes Diddy down? Let's break it all down.
Do any of you know the defendant in this case? If so, please raise your hand. The record will show one affirmative response.
Jury selection was supposed to begin smoothly on May 5, 2025, inside the United States District Court for the Southern District of New York. The blueprint looks simple enough. Call in over 150 potential jurors, weed out the biased, and seat 12 jurors plus 6 alternates in a matter of days. But that was before reality walked in. Because this isn't just any defendant, this is Sean Diddy Combs, a global icon, a billionaire mogul. And now, the face of a scandal so radioactive, even courtroom protocol can't contain the fallout. From the moment jurors arrived, it was clear this jury pool wasn't coming in clean. They weren't just familiar with Diddy, many had opinions, strong ones, and that's the defense's worst nightmare. Every prospective juror filled out an extensive questionnaire. Could they discuss sexual topics in open court? Did they have any experience with sexual harassment training? And most critically, had they already formed opinions about Diddy or his accusers? Then came the in-person questioning, and that's when it all cracked open. One after another, jurors brought up the video. The infamous 2016 surveillance footage from a hotel hallway released by CNN, allegedly showing Diddy striking, kicking, and dragging his then-girlfriend Cassie Ventura. This wasn't a passing reference. The video hung in the air like a specter. One juror called it damning, another scary. Diddy reportedly shook his head in silence as the words were spoken, a quiet signal that he knew exactly how bad this was. Because when jurors walk in, already haunted by that footage, the trial is no longer a clean slate. Sure, some insisted they could remain objective, but let's be honest, can anyone really unsee that video? It's burned into the internet, burned into the news cycle, burned into memory. Defense attorney Mark Agnifilo didn't hide his frustration. At one point, he reportedly leaned over and muttered, "It's becoming impossible to find anyone who hasn't been influenced by the media." And he's not wrong. Even the judge knows it. This case is too loud, too infamous. There's no curtain big enough to block out the noise.
This judge has said this morning over and over again, can you put aside the fact that you know something about this, that maybe you saw the video of Cassie in the hotel hallway? People say yes, and they understand. And he says, Sean Combs is presumed innocent. Do you understand that? They say yes. I think we all take our system of justice very seriously, and jurors don't have to be completely blank slate to be excellent jurors.
Let's zoom out for a second. Diddy isn't just famous, he's capital F famous. Impossible to ignore. He's in your headphones, on your feed, and probably even in your mom's perfume collection if she bought that Sean John cologne back in the day. And that kind of star power, it's a double-edged sword in court. By the end of last week, after what felt like an eternity of vetting, the jury pool was down to 45 candidates. Finally, it looked like the trial train was about to leave the station. Just a little more questioning, a few more decisions, and we'd have our 12 jurors and 6 alternates. But of course, plot twist, over the weekend, a juror sent an email to the court practically begging to be released. Why? They were scared. Full stop. They didn't want anything to do with the Diddy trial. And honestly, who could blame them? This isn't traffic court. It's a front row seat to one of the most high-profile legal battles of the decade. Then came another mess. One juror got caught red-handed lying on their questionnaire. They conveniently forgot to mention they were knee-deep in a lawsuit against New York City. That's not just a red flag. That's an ejector seat. Disqualified instantly. So now we're down to 43 jurors. And just like that, the whole process tilted off balance. The judge didn't like the instability one bit. Boom, jury selection hit the brakes. Delayed. Why? Because if they rushed it now, who's to say more jurors wouldn't pull a vanishing act the minute things got real? And here's where it gets juicy. Some potential jurors are already saying the quiet part out loud. They don't think the justice system can handle someone like Diddy. One said, "There's no way this trial is fair. Rich people always get a pass." Another admitted feeling straight up uneasy about the power gap between Diddy and his accusers. Meanwhile, the internet? Fully on fire. Social media's buzzing with side eyes, hot takes, and digital drama. One viral comment nailed the collective mood. How can Diddy get a fair trial if jurors are scared for their safety? Another person didn't hold back. Diddy is too big for our justice system. And the most savage? Bill Cosby got out, Young Thug got out, and Diddy's about to beat these charges. These aren't just snarky tweets. They reflect a deeper and dangerous public sentiment that when it comes to celebrities, the justice system is just for show. And that toxic cloud of doubt, it's hanging right over the defense table. This is what the defense is up against. Not just prosecutors, not just a jury, but a tidal wave of suspicion that celebrity justice is just different. One set of rules for the rich, another for everyone else. And if that perception sticks, Diddy's defense might be cooked before opening arguments even begin. While the jury chaos unfolds, the defense isn't standing still. Led by Mark Agnifilo, Diddy's legal team is quietly rolling out what might be their most controversial strategy yet, turning Cassie Ventura from victim to aggressor. According to newly surfaced pretrial filings, Diddy's team isn't pretending the relationship was a fairy tale. Far from it. But rather than waving the innocent flag, they're preparing to argue that the chaos went both ways. Their pitch? That this was a mutually destructive relationship, and that Cassie wasn't just caught in the storm, she helped create it. They're reportedly set to dig deep into Cassie's alleged past, claiming she had a track record of violent behavior not just towards Diddy, but others too. The defense plans to grill her hard, pushing the idea that she was often the one throwing the first punch. And here's where it gets even messier. Their goal isn't just to muddy the waters. They're trying to prove that Diddy didn't see himself as coercive, that in the middle of this whirlwind romance-turned battleground, everything was murky, that he wasn't trafficking or controlling Cassie, because in his eyes, this was just the norm between them. Let's be clear, this is a huge gamble. On the one hand, if the jury buys it, if they see the relationship as a toxic push and pull with no clear villain, it could poke major holes in the prosecution's case, especially on those explosive sex trafficking and coercion charges. But on the other hand, victim blaming in 2025 is a dangerous game. Jurors today are media savvy, socially conscious, and way less forgiving of attempts to tear down alleged victims, especially women who've already come forward in the public eye. Trying to flip the script on Cassie could backfire spectacularly, making Diddy look even worse in the process. So the defense is walking a legitimate tightrope here. One wrong move, and they don't just lose sympathy, they risk confirming the exact narrative they're desperate to avoid.
The prosecution is going to try to walk a fine line. They don't want jurors to idolize him as the music mogul that he's been over the past 30 plus years. But they also are going to try to say that because of his wealth and his influence, that was the coercion that took away the consent for these adults to participate in these sexual acts. So they're going to try to use his celebrity status against him in a prejudicial way. And so essentially it's going to be up to the defense to humanize Mr. Combs in a way celebrity status does not hinder him from having a defense like each and every person.
With everything riding on jury composition, this selection process is under a microscope. And for Diddy's legal team, this part might just be the most brutal fight yet. Legal insiders aren't shy about saying it straight. Winning or losing this case could come down less to the evidence and more to who ends up sitting in that jury box. One former federal prosecutor summed it up perfectly, saying it only takes one juror who's fed up with celebrity privilege to blow up the whole defense strategy. And that's not just theory, it's already happening in real time. Jurors are exhausted, overwhelmed by the nonstop media storm. One was dismissed for flat out saying they'd already decided Diddy's guilt, not based on testimony, but on that viral hallway video and years of tabloid drama. They said, "I already know what I saw." When jurors walk in carrying that kind of bias, whether it's anger, fear, or frustration, it doesn't matter how airtight the defense's case is. The trial becomes less about law and more about delivering justice as they see it. And that's a nightmare for Diddy's lawyers. The courtroom is already polluted with opinions, and the idea of a neutral, unbiased jury is slipping fast, maybe gone for good. So what do you think? Can Diddy ever truly get a fair trial? If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.